In the last 10 days, Nikola Jokic has posted efficiency numbers only bettered by Wilt Chamberlain. He's had a 16 assist, 5 block game, and oh yeah, he also did this.
Jokic has it. Clock ticks, gotta put one up. Jokic for the win. Oh! It's good! Jokic got it off in time! And the Nuggets win it!
Is it possible this whole NBA thing is too easy for Nikola Jokic? Guys, he just took a total of 3 shots against the Detroit Pistons and left the entire fan base in shambles. Jokic with 16 assists, 5 blocks and 3 field goal attempts, literally toying with a lower opponent. Yeah, no lie, that may have been the most embarrassing thing to happen to us this season. Jokic usually doesn't care about playing us, but this was a new low. In case you've been living under a rock, the Pistons broke the record for most consecutive losses in NBA history this season. Yet Jokic's 3-shot game was to some the most embarrassing moment all season. And in fairness to Pistons fans, Nikola Jokic has made literally every fan base feel this way for one reason or another, and that's because he's the only player in NBA history who can score 40 points whenever he wants, but would prefer to take 3 shots a game than 25. Because spanning back to last year, he's had a total of 20 games where he's taken 10 or less shots, and that in itself isn't very impressive. But you know what's impressive? The fact the Nuggets have gone 19-1 in those 20 games. Because the thing is, contrary to what some people said last season, Jokic is literally the opposite of a stat padder. Whilst some individuals see teams like the Pistons as an opportunity to go for 50 points and get that scoring average up, Jokic sees these games as an opportunity for other players on his team to go off, whilst he does what he does best, which is playing. Just watch here. AJ gives him the ball in the post. The second Bogdanovic goes to help, he makes the pass to Gordon for the and one. Or in this play where Reggie gives the ball to Jokic, and you can immediately see him look to where he wants to pass with no rim protection back, and then he drops an absolute dime for the bucket. Just look at Jaden Ivey. Reggie Jackson's defender doesn't even know where the ball is. Or of course my favorite Jokic play where he runs the pick and roll, draws the attention of every defender, looking them off before throwing the lob. And then there are plays where Jokic creates wide open opportunities by just being Nikola Jokic. Watch here as he gives the ball to Jamal and sets the screen. Do you see the space Jamal Murray has to drive? It's a straight line to the rim with no rim protection because Duran was so worried about Jokic. And I think most people realize Jokic is a unique superstar. But I'm going to tell you right now that we are watching something we have never seen in NBA history and will probably never see again. This is what I mean by that. During last season, Jokic had 15 games in which he took 10 or less shots. Out of the other 23 players who averaged 24 points or more, they had a combined 18 games. That's not a typo. 23 other players combined had nearly the same amount of games with 10 or less shots. And just in case that somehow doesn't blow your mind, in LeBron James's 20-year career, he has not once had a game in which he has shot 8 or less field goals, excluding injury. Jokic has done it twice in the last week, and those 2 teams he did it against, the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons. Do you know what kind of numbers he could put up against these teams if he wanted to? Numbers like this. But instead, he saves his best statistical performances for when it matters most, like last year's playoffs or a recent game against Golden State in which they made a miraculous comeback on the back of Jokic's flawless final 70 seconds. On this first play, he sets the screen for Murray, gets the ball in the pocket, and well,
Jokic from Murray. Oh, he leaves it for Gordon.
40 seconds later, Jokic gets the ball in the post after the Nuggets had struggled to create anything. So he just backs down Saric, and don't underestimate how soft that touch is. He makes it look easy, but no one else in the league can do it like him. And just to wrap things up, speaking of no one else in the league being able to do it like him, well, yeah. And Jokic won't say it, but not only does he look to create for his teammates, but he knows who needs that extra boost. Prior to the last 2 games, Michael Porter Jr. had been really struggling, averaging just 12 points over a 4-game stretch. So Nikola made a concerted effort to feed him the ball, assisting him on 6 of his 7 made field goals versus the Pistons. And it always helps when your 7-foot center can run a 4-5 pick and roll with Gordon before spotting MPJ with an absurd dime. Or in this play where it's a more conventional pick and roll, he gets to the middle of the floor and hits him for 3. But what makes Jokic one of the greatest playmakers ever is he can create perfect opportunities for every different type of player. Just look at the Nuggets roster and consider all of their strengths. It's a wide variety of strengths, from transition play to post-ups to dribble handoffs to spot-up shooting. This entire range of scoring versatility is boosted by one man, the one-man offensive juggernaut. Look no further than his connection with Aaron Gordon. They've literally revolutionized the center and power forward partnership. It's like if you switched out Chris Paul for a 7-foot point center on the Lob City Clippers. Watch here as Jokic has the ball out top. He blows past Jalen Williams and throws a perfect lob to Gordon as Chet has to help over. You could make a 10-minute compilation of plays exactly like this, where he gets past the first line of defense and then throws a perfect lob to AG. Just look at this play where he gets past Tillman, and pause here. 3 defenders around him and the reigning defensive player of the year roaming, yet he looks off Triple J with the no-look dime to AG. And what makes this partnership so difficult to stop is the opposition center has to guard Jokic from everywhere on the floor, which often leaves spaces in behind, like here, where Jokic leads Gordon in the direction of the pass as there's no rim protection at home. I haven't even mentioned the most unstoppable play in all of basketball, the Jokic and Murray pick and roll, which is unstoppable for more reasons than one. You have a 3-level scorer in Murray that can take advantage of any space afforded to him by the defense. You pair that with another 3-level scorer in Jokic, who not only is the best 3-level scorer in the NBA, but if the defense helps over, he will either throw a lob to Gordon or kick it out to one of the Nuggets' 40% shooters. We saw 20 games of this play being completely unstoppable in last year's playoffs, and I don't expect that to change. Now, some people still have the audacity to question Jokic's offensive greatness, often citing his teammates as a reason for some of the assist numbers. Now, don't get me wrong, the Nuggets have a terrific starting 5, but when I say the NBA is too easy for Nikola Jokic, I'm not exaggerating. Over the last 8 seasons, the Nuggets have had a top 7 offensive rating in each of those 8 seasons. No team has even come close to having a top 10 offense in 8 straight seasons, and nothing will top what he did in 2022, carrying a supporting cast of Monte Morris, Will Barton, Jeff Green, and a worse version of Aaron Gordon to 48 wins, which doesn't even tell the full story. With him on the floor that season, the Nuggets performed at a 62-win pace. With him off the floor, that dropped to an 18-win pace. We've got legitimate season-long proof that you could field any 4 players with Nikola Jokic and they would win nearly 50 games. Somehow, some way, the most dominant player in the NBA is also the most unselfish, and I don't expect we will be seeing something like this ever again.